Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin with breaking news as state health officials and local lawmakers continue to urge the importance of social distancing to slow the spread of coronavirus after North Dakota's second case of community-spread COVID-19 was announced today. This brings North Dakota to 7 confirmed cases of coronavirus in the state, with officials not knowing where the infection came from in the community-spread cases.
These 2 new cases are of particular interest because they're our first 2 cases of community spread. Both of those individuals are residents of Morton County. This brings our total to 7 confirmed cases. And as of this press conference, there were 367 tests that were completed.
As the governor mentioned, so far 367 North Dakotans have now been tested for COVID-19, with 7 cases in the state. 37 people are currently being monitored for symptoms. In Minnesota, a state legislative employee has been confirmed with COVID-19, and more than 2,000 people have been tested, with the number of confirmed cases jumping from 60 to 77. Also, the Central Cass school system is asking that families come pick up supplies tomorrow. Officials say students should come to the district office between noon and 6 p.m. Their list of supplies includes computers and chargers, textbooks, school supplies, and also taking items from student lockers and gym lockers, taking home, that is. Central Cass says they would like all students to take everything home so they can disinfect lockers and classrooms before they return. For more information on local and state closings and a list of online services for North Dakota residents, you can head on over to our VNL News app. President Trump announced he's signing the Defense Production Act, which authorizes him to ramp up production of critical supplies, such as medical equipment and protective gear for healthcare workers. It's a move that has been under discussion in recent days and weeks as the country lacks a sufficient number of ventilators, masks, and other critical items needed to meet the coming demand. President Trump said, in times like these, we must sacrifice together.
We must sacrifice together because we are all in this together and we'll come through together. It's the invisible enemy. That's always the toughest enemy, the invisible enemy, but we're going to defeat the invisible enemy. I think we're going to do it even faster than we thought, and it will be a complete victory.
The president also announced that the Department of Housing and Urban Development is providing immediate relief to renters and homeowners by suspending all foreclosures and evictions until the end of April. A big shout out to healthcare providers who are hard at work and have been since the start of the coronavirus. Hospital and family care clinics are open, but we cannot forget about our local eye doctors still taking patients. Valley News Team's Callie Hubbard tells us why their lobbies have fewer people.
We serve a really vulnerable population. We see a lot of elderly and also some very young patients as well.
Dr. Michelle Atchison, ophthalmologist with Eye Consultants of Fargo, is one of the many healthcare providers trying to bring this virus to a halt.
And we're focusing on seeing the patients only that really need treatment for sight-threatening conditions at this point.
Everyone that has a routine 6-month to 1-year follow-up is going to have to come back later.
We want to be cautious that we're not exposing anyone that doesn't need to be out. What keeps us going is that we are here to help people, and we want to do the best that we can to see the patients that really need to be seeing us right now.
Dr. Atchison says that if you have any problems with your eyes, you can call their clinic at any time, but if you don't, she's advising you stay home. In Fargo, Callie Hubbard, Valley News Live.
The doctor says they have someone on call 24/7 for urgent cases. To learn more, you can visit our VNL News app. Parts of the region are bracing for a major spring storm. It looks to impact some of us tonight and into tomorrow. Let's get the latest from Hutch in the First Alert Storm Team Center. Hutch.
Andrea, we've been tracking this one since last week. Now, the major impacts from this storm will be felt from Sioux Falls into southern Minnesota, but there is going to be a band of enhanced snowfall right here in the valley as we go through the evening tonight. It begins. Right now, radar shows it's developing out near Minot, but in our area, we have some remnant flakes from today's soupy day where we had fog, haze, mist, drizzle, and slippery roads in northern portions of our viewing area. Right now, Grafton all the way up through Kennedy and in towards the Badger area. Some snow along Highway 11. Here's your evening planner, and look at this. By the time we wrap up the 10 at 10 tonight on Valley News Live, you can expect snow to be spreading across the Highway 2 corridor. Here's a look at Wishick now. Down in the south where we have temperatures that are warm, it is wet. A complex storm for tonight. Fargo, quiet 32 degrees with a chance of snow increasing late. But here, I believe temperatures will allow for some mixed precipitation. Better chance of snow in the Devil's Lake Basin and the Grand Forks area by tonight at 10. More details in hour-by-hour style on this entire thing here in just a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch. Police in West Fargo are asking for the community's help in finding 37-year-old Travis Zeck. Officials say Zeck has not had contact with his family since 9 a.m. yesterday. He was last seen driving a black 2015 Chevy Tahoe with North Dakota license plate 197CZN. If anyone has seen this vehicle, please contact your local law enforcement. Police say a man was carjacked in North Fargo after returning home from work. The victim was reportedly threatened with a knife as his wife looked on. In this exclusive interview, Valley News Team's Joshua Peguero spoke to the victim, who's now considering buying a gun as a man sits behind bars.
John Laffner says he was walking from his driveway to the front door of his home late afternoon Tuesday when he was confronted by a man.
He was antsy, like you could see that he wasn't real sure about his decision, but it wasn't like I said, I didn't want the confrontation.
Laffner says the man threatened to end his life, claiming he'd stab him with a knife if he didn't give up his car keys.
I didn't necessarily see the weapon. I didn't really stick around to find out. I just threw the keys on the ground and let him take it.
Police identified that man as 30-year-old John Piotra. After Piotra drove off in Laffner's vehicle, police say he then crashed into another vehicle and pulled out his knife to those inside before speeding on. Piotra led officers on a pursuit that eventually ended along Interstate 94 in Clay County. Laffner says he took his pickup to a shop where it has nearly $12,000 worth in damages.
It was a newer vehicle. I drive a 2017 Silverado, so it was almost a brand new vehicle in good shape. Nothing wrong with it before. And afterwards, not so much.
The area where the theft occurred, along the 700 block of 6th Avenue North, has a ton of foot traffic, according to Laffner.
It is kind of annoying, especially when I have a young daughter at home and, I don't feel real safe sometimes with her if it's late.
He says he's thinking about ways to protect his family, including buying a gun. In Fargo, Joshua Peguero, Valley News Live.
The victim tells us his insurance is on the hook for the vehicles that were damaged in the pursuit. As for John Piotra, he remains in jail on several charges. Former Vice President Joe Biden's victories in Florida, Illinois, and Arizona increased his delegate lead over Bernie Sanders in the Democratic presidential race, and that is increasing pressure on Sanders to drop out of the race entirely. Earlier today, Sanders' campaign manager issued a statement saying that the Vermont senator will be talking to supporters to assess his campaign. He also said that Sanders is in no hurry to make a decision about leaving the race. You can add Target to the growing list of stores cutting hours in reaction to the coronavirus. Starting today, the Minneapolis-based retailer will close all stores at 9 p.m. local time. The change is meant to give employees more time to restock store shelves and clean. The retailer is also dedicating an hour each week for the elderly and those with underlying health concerns who are the most vulnerable to COVID-19 to shop. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says Canada and the United States have agreed to temporarily close their border to all non-essential travel. President Trump made the announcement today on Twitter as the two nations work to stem the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Trudeau later briefed reporters on some of the details. He said the border closure will be happening very quickly and last as long as necessary.
I want to be clear, though, that essential travel will continue. Our governments recognize that it is critical that we preserve supply chains between both countries. These supply chains ensure that food, fuel, and life-saving medicines reach people on both sides of the border.
Canada relies on the U.S. for 75% of its export business, and about 18% of American exports go to Canada. With Italy in lockdown in response to the coronavirus, Venice canals are now virtually clear of boats, leaving the water transparent enough that fish can be seen. With little to no traffic from ferry boats, motorboats, and big ships in both the Venice Lagoon and in the city canals, people are pleasantly surprised to see the waters of their canals turning from muddy to crystal clean and the bottom clearly visible. The Fargo Marathon has postponed their events this year due to concerns with the coronavirus. Race organizers announced Tuesday the event originally scheduled for May has been pushed back to August 24th. But according to a post on social media, racers who have already registered for the event have two options: race in August or participate in the race virtually. Organizers say the second option means people will still receive their shirt, bib, and medal by mail if racers fill out a form. Valley News Live has been contacted by several racers who are looking for a refund. According to the post on Facebook, the organizers say because we have already put a year's worth of time and resources into setting up the event, we cannot offer refunds. A Norwegian musher achieves a dream he's had since he was a boy. That's still ahead tonight.
And significant weather is heading our way as we head into the overnight hours. Not all of us will see measurable snow, but for some of us, that blue blotch you see out in eastern Montana and western North Dakota is going to provide some shovel-worthy snow. Details next.